First campsite. It's not bad. I thought I would take a walk down this road that I came in on. It's a little buggy. It's 72 degrees, which is amazing. I don't know what the exact date, but it's in the middle of January. I think the 17th or 18th. Crap. I don't know what was cut off. So my phone suddenly stopped recording somehow. Now, I was in the middle of telling the story about the thunderstorm. So basically, I don't know where I was at. There was a thunderstorm, and finally, I decided to get out of the car and relieve myself, which I had to pee so badly. And then I drove down to the end of the road. This road here goes for about, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of a mile, and then gets to the secondary road. So in the middle of the night at 1 o'clock in the morning, again 1 o'clock, I don't understand it. So I went to bed around 8. At 1 o'clock in the morning, I was woken up by this thunderstorm, and maybe as well as having to pee, and then took off down this road. It's crazy. So I drove down it, and I looked at it all, and where it could flood, and sure enough, there's water damage. Where you could see where that water had been coming down and cutting out trails in the road, but they weren't bad. And the flooding on the side of the road is kind of like this. And now the thunderstorm was ebbing. It was not as bad as it was. There's a frog or something over there, but I can't find it. I look for it. Well, as soon as I get close to it, it stops chirping. So anyway, I decided it was okay. And then I'm like, well, I could just bail and, continue driving and head to a rest area and go with it. I would have left my pot because, it was all crusted over, and I filled it with water so that hopefully in the morning I'd be able to scrub it out. But that's the only thing. My chair and all that stuff, everything else was in the car. This pot. So I'm like, well, I think it's going to be okay. So I came back here and parked back up again in the middle this time so that, I could just pull right out of here. And the middle seems like the high point. So I went back to bed. And, I woke up in my sleeping arrangement, which sucks. I mean, I think that when you're at home in your bed, when all of a sudden a position that you're in, like let's say you're laying on your arm and your arm starts to become uncomfortable, I think you, without knowing it, you just move. And then when you, and then you stay asleep through the whole process. So then all of a sudden that position becomes uncomfortable and then you roll over again. That's what I think causes you to toss and turn. It's whether or not you're comfortable in the position you're in. And you just do this kind of automatically without waking up. Or maybe you wake up a little bit. I'm not sure. But anyway, I hadn't realized that. So in a car, basically, I can get to a comfortable position in every position. I can lay flat on my stomach and be comfortable enough to sleep. I can lay flat on my back and be comfortable enough to sleep. Or I can be in a side position and be comfortable enough to sleep. However, in all of those positions, it's like you have to finagle to get to those. Because you can't just roll around, because I just get caught up in all my covers and comforters and stuff. So, you kind of have to roll around in a way that you can. Because you're rolling around in the same spot, not rolling around in 4 feet. In my bed, I had a queen size bed at home. I would go to sleep on one side of the bed and sometimes wake up on the other side. And in the car here, I've got about basically 1.5 or 2 feet of room and to sleep in, and that's it. So I feel like every time I go to move, I wake up. And so basically, that's how it is sleeping in the car. Now, the thing is that after, I decided to sleep in the car and went back and got back here, I went back to sleep in the car and I woke up at, I'm not sure exactly, maybe 3 o'clock. And then decided, because, every time you wake up, you're like, well, at least if you're me, I'm like thinking, I could just leave. So, and it was actually much colder. I went to bed at night and it was kind of warm. And then, when I woke up at 3, it was colder. I had to put my covers on and everything. And that's the thing about, I think, this lifestyle. Another thing about this lifestyle that nobody has ever said to me, no matter how many videos I've watched, is, in a car, it starts off warm, really, and then it gets colder. So, if you go to sleep, you're going to obviously be warm. So maybe not as much covers. And then as the night progresses, you actually have to put on more covers and more covers, which I think wakes you up. I'm not sure yet. It's only been, 3 nights. So now the thing is that I decided to go back to sleep and I woke up at 6:30, which is great. 7 o'clock sunrise, beautiful. That's what time I'd like to wake up, around 6 or 6:30. Though, if I was driving, I got to say, driving at 1 o'clock in the morning was beautiful. It was, if it hadn't been for that fog, which was scary as hell, the traffic was so minimal. I could put it on cruise control and just go. It was unbelievable how good it was. All the way through Knoxville, no traffic I had at all. Nothing. I mean, perfect driving at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's all I can say. So driving in the middle of the night is, maybe one of the best things you can do. As far as driving goes. But yeah. So I woke up at 6:30 and I'm trying to get all my shit together in the morning. That's the mistake. So now I'm gonna, I realize now at night, before I go to bed, before it gets dark, I set up everything to go to bed, which means moving everything around to the right spots. Now I've gotten a spot where I have to put my phone, my glasses, and my headlamp. And so far I've just been wearing my pants at night. So I keep my keys in my pocket and my vape pen in the other pocket. And you really have to have your shit organized in order for everything to work. And I should, from now on, as well as I'm going to set up everything for my morning routine. So I woke up this morning and it's cold and dark, and you're debating on whether or not you're going to idle the car, because it's dark. You can't see shit. But I have little lights and everything, so I don't have to idle the car. But it was cold, so I decided I would idle the car until at least warmed up. But at the same time, I'm looking around. I couldn't find any of my coffee crap. I had to rip everything apart, in the morning in the dark. and I'm like trying to find my coffee stuff, which is just unbelievable. So what I'm going to have to do is make sure that my coffee stuff is ready to go. I mean, this maybe won't apply to people who are living in an RV, I guess, because, their coffee stuff would be kind of ready for them in their cabinet or whatever. But for me, it's packed away. I have a place where I thought that I would put it, which works. It's in the passenger side there. But, I couldn't get to everything because, things had fallen in there and everything. It was just annoying. So I'm going to have to make sure that I come up with a better plan for that. And then, I couldn't get this thing to work correctly this morning, the stove, and it wouldn't close. And it turned out that, even though that it was open, it was on, so it wouldn't close all the way. So there you go. All right, so that's the end of night 3. This is going to be day 4. And hopefully what I'm going to do is clean out the car and then maybe get my bike out. The sunrise has been beautiful. And I think I might stay here all day. I don't have to go anywhere. I got everything that I needed from Walmart. I may film some of it, or who knows? I'm not sure.